The restaurant was busy that evening, filled with the clinking of cutlery, soft laughter, and the low hum of conversations blending into one constant noise. She moved quickly between tables, balancing trays with practiced ease. Her eyes lowered more often than not. To most people, she was just another waitress, quiet, efficient, invisible. But tonight felt heavier. A sharp voice cut through the noise. "Excuse me, this isn't what I ordered." She stopped mid-step, her heart sinking slightly before she turned around. The man at table 7 looked irritated, pushing his plate forward as if it offended him. Several people nearby glanced over, their curiosity thinly veiled. I'm sorry, sir," she said softly, stepping closer. "Let me fix that for you." "You people never listen," he muttered, loud enough for others to hear. Her fingers tightened slightly around the edge of the tray, but she nodded, forcing a small, apologetic smile. "I'll bring the correct dish right away." As she picked up the plate, she could feel the weight of eyes on her. A quiet heat rose to her cheeks, but she kept her gaze down, focusing only on getting back to the kitchen as quickly as possible. Moments like this weren't new, but they never got easier. In the corner of the restaurant, a little girl sat with her mother, watching everything carefully. Unlike the others, her gaze wasn't filled with judgment or amusement. It was filled with curiosity and something deeper. "Mom," the girl whispered, tugging gently at her sleeve. "Why is that lady sad?" Her mother barely looked up from her phone. "Eat your food, sweetheart." But the girl didn't look away. She watched as the waitress returned from the kitchen, her movements just as quick, just as precise. But there was something different now. A quiet heaviness in her shoulders, a silence in her expression. When the waitress passed by their table, the girl noticed something no one else seemed to see. A small tear quickly wiped away. The girl's eyes widened slightly. She wasn't sure why, but that tiny detail made her chest feel tight. It didn't seem fair. The waitress had said sorry. She had tried to fix the mistake. So, why did she look like she had done something much worse? "Mom," the girl whispered again, more urgently this time. "She's crying." Her mother sighed, finally glancing up. "It's not our business." But to the little girl, it suddenly felt like it was. As the waitress moved to another table, forcing another polite smile, the girl kept watching her, her small mind trying to understand something the adults around her seemed to ignore completely. And in that quiet moment, without fully realizing it, the little girl saw something no one else did. Not just a waitress who made a mistake, but a person who was hurting. The little girl couldn't stop thinking about what she had seen, while the rest of the restaurant carried on eating. Image of the waitress, quietly wiping away. Her tears stayed in her mind. It didn't make sense to her. Grown-ups always said to be kind, to say sorry when you made a mistake. But the waitress had done exactly that, and still looked so sad. She shifted in her seat, her small hands gripping the edge of the table. "Mom, I want to go talk to her," she said softly. Her mother looked up, slightly surprised. "No, sweetheart, don't bother her. She's working." "But she's sad," the girl insisted, her voice filled with innocent concern. Her mother hesitated, then gently shook her head. "Sometimes adults have problems you won't understand." The girl fell quiet, but her eyes drifted back to the waitress, who was now standing near the counter, waiting for another order. From a distance, she looked fine again, professional, but the little girl knew better. She had seen the truth hidden behind that smile. Without another word, the girl slowly slipped off her chair. "Hey, where are you going?" her mother asked, startled. "I'll be back," the girl replied, already taking small, determined steps across the restaurant. She walked carefully, weaving between tables, her eyes fixed on the waitress. Her heart beat a little faster, not from fear, but from the strange feeling that what she was about to do mattered. The waitress didn't notice her at first. She was busy writing something on her notepad, her focus locked on her responsibilities. But then, she felt a light tug on her sleeve. She turned, slightly confused. Standing there was the little girl, looking up at her with wide, sincere eyes. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "Hi," the girl said quietly. The waitress blinked, caught off guard. "Hello," she replied gently, her voice softer now. The girl hesitated, then reached out her small hand and placed something on the tray the waitress was holding. It was a neatly folded napkin. "I made this for you," the girl said. Confused, the waitress carefully unfolded it. Inside, drawn with a slightly shaky hand, was a simple picture: a smiling face, with big eyes and a small heart beside it. Underneath, in uneven handwriting, were the words, "You are nice." The waitress froze for a second. The noise of the restaurant seemed to disappear completely. Her eyes lingered on the drawing, her breath catching as something inside her shifted. "You saw me?" she whispered, almost to herself. The little girl nodded. "You looked sad, but I think you're good." The words were simple, so simple, but they carried a weight no adult in that room had offered. And in that quiet, unexpected moment, something inside the waitress began to break and heal at the same time. The waitress stood still, the small napkin trembling slightly in her hands. The little drawing, simple smiling face and a heart heavier than anything she had carried all evening. For hours, she had held in every emotion, every humiliation, every sharp word thrown her way. But now, in the middle of a busy restaurant, it was this tiny act of kindness that finally reached her. Her eyes filled again, but this time she didn't look down in shame. She looked at the little girl. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice unsteady but warm. "That means more than you know." The girl smiled, a pure, unfiltered smile that asked for nothing in return. "You're welcome," she said simply. For a moment, the waitress forgot about the orders waiting, the customers watching, the pressure of doing everything perfectly. All she saw was this child who had noticed what no one else had, who had chosen kindness when everyone else had chosen indifference. Behind the girl, her mother had stood up, watching the scene with a mix of concern and realization. She slowly approached, placing a gentle hand on her daughter's shoulder. "I'm sorry if she disturbed you," the mother said politely. The waitress shook her head quickly. "No, not at all." She looked down at the drawing again, then back at the mother. "She didn't disturb me. She reminded me of something I think I forgot." The mother's expression softened, her earlier distraction replaced with quiet understanding. The restaurant continued to buzz around them, but something had shifted, subtly, yet powerfully. A few nearby customers who had witnessed the moment exchanged glances, their earlier judgments fading into something closer to reflection. The man at table 7, who had complained so loudly before, looked down at his plate, suddenly avoiding eye contact. For the first time that evening, he seemed uncomfortable, not because of the service, but because of himself. The waitress straightened her posture, taking a slow breath. The weight she had been carrying didn't disappear completely, but it felt lighter now, manageable. She carefully folded the napkin and tucked it into her apron pocket, as if it were something precious she didn't want to lose. "I'll be right back with your order," she said to a nearby table, her voice steadier now. As she walked away, there was a subtle change in her steps, not just routine, but renewed strength. Back at her table, the little girl climbed onto her chair again, satisfied in a way she couldn't fully explain. She picked up her spoon and continued eating, as if what she had done was the most natural thing in the world. And maybe it was, because in a room full of adults who saw only mistakes in service, a child had seen a human heart and chose to lift it instead of ignore it. And sometimes that is all it takes to change everything.